Now it's time for her to meet Pa and Camilla. Now, you just listen to the way he talks about Camilla in this whole section. It's really surprising that he would talk about her this way. Because it's like, you know, regardless of your feelings about her, she's in your life now. And it doesn't seem like she's done anything to deserve the degree of disrespect and disdain that he speaks about her. Whenever she comes up, it's probably, he speaks about her probably the nastiest of anybody. Like consistently, like a lot of people, he'll say like a lot of really nice things and then suddenly like come in with a punch. He just punches when it comes to Camilla. He says that they went to Clarence's house and he told Meg that he had grown up at Clarence's house at least from the ages of 19 to 28. That's where he had always stayed. But then he gripes and he says, after I moved out, Camilla turned my bedroom into a dressing room. I tried not to care, but especially the first time I saw it, I did care. What? You care that, because he says that, okay, she turns his bedroom into a dressing room, but dude, you were 28 when you moved out. 20 freaking 8. Okay? Was she supposed to like make it into a shrine for you in case you ever decide to come back and lay your head there? There's about 1,000 rooms in that place if you need a place to stay. You have somewhere to live. You don't need that room anymore. And if she wants to turn it into a dressing room, big whoop. You're living your own life. Why do you care what she's doing? You know, by the way, this was your room from like 19 to 28. This isn't like, I was born in that room. I spent all my toddler years there in my elementary years, in middle school, and high school, and college. I mean, it's like, this was a place that you came and laid your head at from time to time when you weren't doing other things. What is he? He just has to make such a big deal about everything. Okay, so he says they got there 5 o'clock on the dot. Couldn't be late. Yeah, I shouldn't think so. He says that Meg looked beautiful. He had told her to wear her hair down, and she was wearing her hair down. He said that Pa likes a woman to wear their hair down, and Granny too, because she'd often commented on Kate's beautiful mane. Meg was wearing little makeup. I suggested that because Pa didn't approve of women who wore a lot. So, you know, she was super ready and willing to play by somebody else's rules. Because here's the thing. You're going to see her be very charming with Pa because she can still get something from Pa, right? Okay, so there's no reason for her not to play by every rule. She doesn't complain about what they ask her to do. She's willing to do exactly what they want. She's super charming, super lovely at this meeting. And you're not going to see that same attitude with William because William is not he's the heir, but after Pa, you know, this is the king or the about to be king, and he can still give them things. He's the one who holds the purse strings. William at this point is like not even somebody she needs to bother impressing. It's Charles that she needs to keep in her good graces, or rather she needs to remain in his. So this whole scene of her, never once a complaint about having to do things the way this man would want her to do them, even though she's all about big on women's rights. She's willing to forget about that so long as she's going to get what she wants in this great big drama. They have to walk all through the house with Pa's butler and house manager until they finally get to the place where Pa and Camilla are. He says that Meg and he had rehearsed. And by the way, guys, I think that this next section is so petty. I can't even wrap my mind around why he was willing to be this petty. He says that he had told her, look, for Pa, you're going to curtsy. You need to say Your Royal Highness. You need to call him Sir. It would be appropriate for you to give him a kiss on either cheek, but let's not do any hugging. And then for Camilla, don't even bother with the curtsy. She didn't get one. Just a quick kiss and a handshake. And Meg's like, no curtsy? Are you sure about that? And Harry's like, well, I don't think it's appropriate. Oh, yeah, but why? But why not just be generous? Why not just be generous in your demeanor? You know what I mean? Like, why already start it off with like, he gets the curtsy, you definitely don't. Like, I wouldn't want to start. If I were Meghan, I'd just curtsy to both of them. I would be like, whatever, your gripe is your own gripe, but I'm over here trying to make a good impression. So I'm going to be curtsying to everybody. I'll curtsy to the butler if need be. Anyway, they go into this large sitting room, and Pa asks her a terrible question. Shocking. He says to her, aren't you the star of an American soap opera? She smiles. I smiled. I desperately wanted to say, soap opera, no, that's our family. Meg said that she was in a cable drama that aired in the evening. Okay, so there's a big difference there. It's about lawyers. It's called Suits. Oh, that's marvelous, Paul said. How splendid. We came to a round table. There's all sorts of food laid out. It's all just very lovely, very precise and beautiful. Meg and Harry commenced to wolfing down some food because they're starving. They'd been so nervous all day they hadn't eaten anything, but I guess the nerves are wearing off, so they're feasting and merrymaking. And then here comes another part where I'm like, Meghan, if you're so cultured, why is it that you would not know this? I truly don't understand. I mean, I would not consider myself to be anything but a country bumpkin, but I think I know the difference between light tea and dark tea. Because Camilla asks Meg, how would you take your tea, light or dark? And Meg apologized for not knowing. I thought tea was just tea. What do you mean? You don't know, like, do you want milk in it? Do you not want milk in it? Like, what? How do you, what? Oh my gosh. Anyway, it's like, you know, she's always playing this doe-eyed innocent role, which I don't find very appealing for a woman of her age. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not charming that you don't know certain things. It's idiotic. Okay, so then they start in on, you know, this brings a conversation to like, oh, we're just all so different. Here the British, you know, in England we do it this way. Oh, America, we do it this way. It's just a rollicking discussion about tea and wine and other libations and Britishisms versus Americanisms. And then they get onto the subject of all things that we like, things we all like, and that leads to dogs. And now Meghan's got to tell us all about her 2 rescue animals that she got. And again, this is just very much like always, there's just always so much virtue signaling with Meghan. And even in this, like, she calls them her fur babies. I've got 2 fur babies. Of course she calls them her fur babies. I bet she's got a cup that says dog mom on it. Her 2 little fur babies are called Bogart and Guy, and they were rescues. And Guy had a really sad story. Meghan goes on to tell them that she'd found him in Kentucky at a kill shelter, because that's what they do down south. They just get all their hunting dogs, and when they're done with them, they just slaughter all of them. She goes on and on to talk about the brutal practices in Kentucky. And anyway, she'd found Guy on the shelter's website, and through the generosity of her heart, she rescued that poor thing. And of course, Camilla's very upset because, as Meghan probably researched extensively, Camilla does a lot of work with the like Humane Society at Battersea Dogs and Cats Home. So she just really hates stories about animal abuse, and Paul really hates it also. And so, you know, Paul had a dog that had gotten lost on a grouse moor in Scotland, probably fell down a rabbit hole. He'd never seen the dog again. So he hates to hear about how animals are mistreated. Now we come to some more slights against Camilla, all right? So if it's not enough that he is all mad about his bedroom being turned into a dressing room, it's not enough that he told Meghan specifically, do not curtsy to her. Now we get to the part where he says that Camilla is just nothing but a great big eavesdropper. He goes, well, the conversation was easy, all 4 of us talking at once, but then Pa and Meg fell into a quiet chat, and I turned to Camilla, who seemed keener on eavesdropping than talking to her stepson, but alas, she was stuck with me. It's like, why so damn catty towards Camilla? Like, probably the other 2 were better at keeping up conversation, so probably she did want to be part of the conversation that Meghan and Charles were having. Okay, so anyway, then they switch, and then he's talking with Pa, and Camilla's talking with Meg, and, you know, then eventually the conversation includes everybody. You know, it's like, what? The way he catalogs this whole thing is so dull. Then I talked to this person, and not even telling us what they talked about, just like giving us a play-by-play of who was talking to who at what time. Okay. He writes that he goes, Pa had a lot of questions about Meg's career. He looked impressed by the way she answered. Her confidence, her intelligence, I thought, caught him unawares. Well, I don't know if he was impressed or shocked by an attitude of confidence, yet a mouthful of ignorance. I imagine that Meghan is one of those people where she knows just enough to make the layperson feel like she's very learned, but an expert would be shocked by her ignorance. And, you know, Pa is no dummy when it comes to the theater. I just wonder what she was actually saying that could have impressed him. Anyway, maybe she did. Maybe she had a few, well-placed thoughts that she had saved up for just such an occasion. Who knows? Anyway, it's time for the whole event to be wrapped up because Paul and Camilla have other engagements and, they're very overscheduled and so forth. So they stand up and Harry is horrified because Meg leans towards Pa and he flinches. He's like, oh gosh, she's gonna forget. She's gonna hug Pa. She knows she's not supposed to do that. But she just gives him the standard peck to peck. And he, is charmed by it. But the thing is, like I said before, it wouldn't benefit her to create some offense with Charles, so of course she's going to play by the rules. She's not going to go in for that hug that she knew was probably inappropriate with William. She's going to do the things that she knows are required of her, and she's going to do it without complaining. Because Charles can still give them gifts. He's the one who holds the power, the purse strings in this relationship. He is going to be the one who she's got to come to for everything. So she's got to make sure to hold him near and dear to her heart and, just charm him and just be this lovely young thing that, he just is so happy to spend any time with.